Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and in this video we're going to be testing out Starfield with my 7900 XT, and I'm pairing this with a Ryzen 9 7900X. A little confusing there. I'll list the whole system specs down below, but we're going to go through 1080p, some FSR2, see how that works out. So 1080p, 1440p, and 4K from gaming on this and trying them all out already. It's pretty interesting results. This game, yeah, it is pretty demanding, not just on the GPU but on the CPU as well, because as you'll see at 1080p we're going to be getting some pretty low frame rates and seeing a bottleneck. But anyway, let's go in here into the settings and we'll quickly change those around. So we're going to start off at 1080p. We'll turn FSR off. Everything is going to be ultra or high, no VSync, no upscaling, and yeah, there's the rest of the settings. Alright, and then we're gonna... I'm pretty surprised. It doesn't take very long to load this game. It takes me probably about a minute to go from hitting the start button for the game to start loading to hit continue into the game and to get into here, so really fast. And we're just in New Atlanta, or New Atlantis, whatever the heck it's called. And as you can see, we're bottlenecked right off the bat in here, and this is probably one of the more demanding scenes. Inside buildings, in your starship, all that stuff, it's not as demanding. You're actually going to see a higher FPS, but in here, going around the city is generally where I see the lowest FPS, and that's what we're going to take a look at and do the comparison. And we're sitting at a benchmark, or a bottleneck. We have CPU utilization at like 55%, and GPU is sitting at 90, and it's going to dip down to the low 80s as well. So we're getting into an average FPS of 72, and that's going to fluctuate up and down, but it's not too bad. So at 1080p, it's playable, but you're also stuck with this frame rate because we're hitting a CPU bottleneck. So if you want to get the full amount of performance out of a 7900 XT, you need a faster CPU. Probably something like the 5800 or 7800 X3D, or probably even an Intel. Just running around here, this is pretty much what we're seeing, you know, 70-ish. Oh, I haven't been here yet. Yeah, about 70-ish FPS. What do we got around here? We got the subway. Anything interesting? Oh, we got lots of stuff to choose from. Let's go up here. Yeah, as you can see, we're in a building and the FPS skyrockets. Just take a quick little walk around here and see. Ooh, don't want to fall off there. That's interesting. Yeah, so just going in from, you know, one scene to another does cause a little spike in the frame time graph, but just general running around, it's still pretty smooth. Yeah, so this is kind of what you can expect on the low end from your performance. Now, we'll go here and we'll turn FSR2 on, but I got a funny feeling that it's not going to make much of a difference due to the CPU bottleneck that we already have. Again, this game just came out. There's still going to be driver updates. There's going to be game updates. There's going to be a lot of updates that'll affect the performance of the game over time. So let's go. We'll turn FSR2 on. And then this is what caught me by surprise last time, because I wasn't noticing a difference between native and FSR. You have to come up here to the render resolution and turn that down. And that way, instead of like, even if you have FSR2 turned on with 100% render resolution, you're gonna get native. So if we put it down to 75%, it's gonna do a 75% drop in resolution and then upscale. So let's go back into the game and see if that makes a difference. Let's restart. And as I was kind of expecting, we're not seeing much of a difference, and that is because we're already CPU bottlenecked. Just because we're trying to decrease the resolution to amp up performance, the CPU just can't keep up. So at 1080p, there's no reason to use FSR if you have a 7900 XT or something comparable, something that's going to be bottlenecked by your CPU. There's the lovely skyline there. Got my trusty robot following me. So yeah, that's what you can expect. 1080p between native and absolutely no increase in performance if you drop it down to FSR2. Now, that's not to say any other GPUs will have that kind of effect. I do have a 7600 that I recently picked up, so we'll be testing that out probably next, and I bet you FSR there will definitely provide a boost at 1080p. Anyway, let's go and up this to 1440p and give that a try. Alright, here we are using 1440p. I switched it earlier, but it didn't take because I had to go back and adjust the actual screen resolution on my desktop. Instead of having a bordered window, I now have, full screen. And as you can see, there's a little bit of an increase. Well, not really, it's about the same. So the average FPS is staying the same, but we're now getting GPU bottlenecked because we're at 100%. So this is probably going to be certain situations, it's going to be CPU bottlenecked. In some situations, it'll be GPU bottlenecked depending where you are. But again, we're not getting a very big difference when it comes to frame rate. We're seeing low 70s, high 60s. So the performance, whether you're in 1080p or 1440p, is negligible, but if you play in at 1440p, you are getting, a higher resolution output. Now, there's a few things in the city that I have for missions that I need to go do, but I'm just running around the city to give you an idea of the performance. See, in this situation now, the GPU, all the lovely stars up there. Yeah, so this is pretty much what you can expect for the performance at 1440p. Let's go and turn on FSR again. Probably not going to be any change. In some situations there might be, but for the most part there won't be. Again, gotta turn render resolution down. Made that mistake already. Restart. And there you go. We have the GPU utilization dropped, and the average FPS pretty much stayed the same. So again, FSR is not looking like it has any benefit for 7900 XT, whether you're in 1080p or 1440p. We're gonna have to wait until we get to 4K to see any kind of benefit. Oh, I'm stuck. Give you an idea of just how much detail there is in the game. So yeah, it's a big area to explore. I can't see there being any more benefit of going around and doing anything with 1440p because FSR just isn't providing any kind of benefit. So let's go ahead and we'll up this to 4K. Oh, and we'll turn, okay, it's already on 4K. We'll turn FSR off. And there we go. Now we're starting to see where we're becoming GPU limited. We're no longer CPU bound. It's all on the GPU. We're about 15 to 20% below on the CPU utilization compared to 1080p at 1440p. And on top of that, we're seeing a drop in FPS down to 50. So 50 is not bad. I'd be more concerned about the 1% low, and right now it's just staying at around 41. Yeah, so in here we're kind of flopping between 50 and 60 FPS with an average of 52. And the 1% low really hasn't changed. We're still sitting at 41. Yeah, I'm going to be curious the 4070 Ti, see how well that works out, considering this is optimized more for AMD. I'll be curious to see that, and I'm also going to be curious to see, hopefully the 7600 can do pretty good at 1080p, but I do not have high hopes. I'm assuming that is going to need FSR turned on. Just love it how games are less optimized and just relying on the upscaling technology that AMD and NVIDIA and also Intel have out. So we'll know that more as time goes on, as they patch the game and stuff like that, to see how much better the FPS increases over time with every patch. You'll be able to tell how well optimized the game was when it first launched. But as it stands now, like running around here with this kind of frame rate is not too bad. I bet you we're going to see a pretty significant bump in performance by turning on FSR. Let's go do that. So upscale, FSR Part 2. We're going to turn the resolution down here to 75 again. So again, we're sitting in the low 60s for an average. Let's see what happens. Perfect. Get out of there. Well, let's just run around, but now it seems like, again, we have 100% GPU utilization, or a little bit there near that, and we're seeing a CPU bottleneck now. So you definitely don't need a 12-core CPU to play this game. 8-core is enough. It's definitely going to be that single-threaded performance that's going to get you a boost up and over any kind of CPU bottleneck that you're going to experience. Geez, that's ridiculous. Even with FSR 2.0 on, there's not that big of a difference in performance. I set it for 70. Did it take? Yeah, we got the 75% resolution on. It's at 4K. FSR, yeah. No, this is crazy. Not much performance gain whatsoever by going to, well, a little bit. So I think we're seeing, what, close to a 10 FPS gain. Well, that kind of messed up the average, so we'll start there. So we're going from the 50s up into the 60s, so there is a little bit of a gain, but not too much. The average, 1% average, definitely picked up about 10 FPS. Splash around the water. So we could turn, well, no, I don't even think that would work. Since the GPU is running at 100%, turning the resolution scale down wouldn't make any difference because the GPU just can't pump out any more frames. So we gained, like, I'd say about 10 FPS, I think, by turning FSR on. So we got a little bit of a boost across the board, both on the average and the 1% low. Like I said, I'll be curious to see what happens as they patch this game more and more, and when FSR 3 comes out. That'll be interesting to see, because there's going to be the frame generation technology, I believe, in there as well, same as DLSS. So there's going to be extra frames put in to smooth it out, so you might get a fictitious kind of increase to the performance because of that. But we will see. Anyway, so if you have a 7900 XT, you can get between 50 and 60 FPS, whether you want to turn FSR on or off. Seems like 4070 Ti should be able to handle this game at 4K, because the memory right now, let's turn it back to native, because that should maybe increase the amount of memory being used. Yeah, so we're moving up to close to 11 gigs of memory being used by this, and almost, well, we got 14.5 gigs of system memory being used. So the 4070 Ti, with its crappy 12 gigabytes of RAM, or VRAM, should be able to play the game. Now it's going to be on how well optimized is this game to run on NVIDIA's hardware. Anyway, if you have any questions or comments, please leave it down below. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Thanks, and have a good one.